Hey, welcome back to Vaguely Adults. We got two vaguely looking adults here. I'm one of your hosts, Sarana, and
I'm Shirley.
today we got some more movie talking for you guys.
Spoopy movies.
Spoopy movies, actual spoopy stuff, and not Disney Channel originals, which we love.
Right, we're
don't
not knocking it.
get us wrong, yeah. But some actual, oh my god, am I gonna sleep tonight? Sort of situations.
Vibes.
We were gonna dress up and have costumes and stuff. But
Shirley dropped the ball and forgot to bring her costume and part of Serana's. So,
which was only glasses, to be honest. I was gonna do the black turtleneck and glasses to be Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
But instead, I have my Apple products that we are using to record, to take notes, to eventually edit. So,
and I'm pretending to be mentally stable today. So that's my costume.
Yeah, we love that. Yeah. I think my costume is existence. But to kick things off, let's sit properly like a human being.
I just want to make a quick comment on you saying time to sit like a normal person, and I wish you could see how she was sitting. It is not like a normal person. She has like one leg tucked under her.
It's half crisscross applesauce.
It's not though. I'm half crisscross applesauce.
Yeah, my foot is crossed.
Your foot is like directly under you.
That's how I sit when I meditate. But I use both. Anyway,
it was irrelevant. Do
we want to put in extra footage or?
Oh, let's.
We could, so you can see what she means. But it's like, it works.
But it's not like again.
But it works. It works.
All right, it's not half crisscross, but whatever. Go off.
So we're gonna start off with this movie, REC, literally REC. It's a Spanish found footage horror film that came out 2007. Had a budget of $2 million. Yeah. I'm just pulling facts from Wikipedia, so if we are wrong to any degree,
don't correct us.
It's Wikipedia. Yeah. So when did you watch REC?
The first time I saw REC was a couple years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And then I saw it again a year after that, and then again earlier this year.
Ooh.
I saw it. My sister went on 3 years ago. I saw it like a year and a half or 2 years ago. My sister went on a Spanish horror movie binge, so she's seen every horror movie in Spanish. She even like got a subscription to one of those like apps. It was like a scary movie app, kind of like Shudder, if you know what Shudder is, but in Spanish. And just to preface this, preface.
Yeah.
Spanish horror movies are scarier than English horror movies because the plots are better.
I think foreign language.
Yeah, this is fair. I mean, I haven't watched any scary movie that's not in Spanish or English, which is why I'm only speaking about Spanish movies. But
I've watched Japanese, Korean, Spanish.
Yeah, she's well traveled.
I wish.
But yeah. So it's good that it stands. Foreign horror films are better than American horror films.
In our humble opinion.
In my not so humble opinion. But that's because I feel like American films are more jump scares than anything else. Like more so than plot stuff. Like they want the element of surprise. Like that was the whole thing behind the Paranormal Activity movies.
Never watched them.
Oh, okay. I saw one in the movie theater.
You're going to see a theme of her mentioning movies and me having not watched them. Because again, I watch more foreign films than...
She'll mention foreign films and I'll just stare at her. It's okay.
Yeah.
But they're big on jump scares. So like, yeah, everything is documentary style, like filming style, but then everything is like, boom, happens out of nowhere. And that's their entire basis for why it's scary is the jump scares, which yes, it triggers my anxiety, but not in like the way that it's making me scared. Just like in that very second, like, I jumped, which is why I appreciate like the foreign, I almost said foreign Spanish movies, foreign horror films.
Yeah.
Because the plots are actually eerie and creepy and complex.
Yeah.
Like REC. So documentary style, it follows this reporter who's trying to make it big, but right now she's like only doing small stories. And she actually gets caught up in it by mistake. She is doing a report on the firehouse, right? And she goes to the firehouse to like report on them and like what their everyday is like. And then they get a call and she's like, oh, can I come along and see what it is? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? And she goes along on this call and suddenly she's quarantined in this building.
So she goes to the building and then the building just shuts down.
Yeah, like
something occurs that requires the building to completely close off all exits.
The CDC literally
Yeah, they show up hazmat suited and like just
and tape them in. No
Yeah.
one in, no one out. One of them is like severely injured because he fell or he got shot or something. And they're like, he needs medical help. And CDC is outside like, nope, can't do it. Just keep him from dying until we figure out what's going on in the building. And they're like, what the hell is going on in the building? Because all of them are unaware of what's happening. And then they go upstairs to check on the old lady that lives on the 3rd floor. But this lady seems like possessed.
Yeah, she's acting all eerie and just her movements.
And she's yelling, like she's screeching. And obviously, spoiler alerts if you haven't seen the movie and you plan on watching it and don't like spoiler alerts, and don't like spoilers. Everyone likes a good spoiler alert. But then she bites someone else and then they start acting the same way. And
she bites one of the officers or
one of the firemen, I think.
Oh, yeah.
She bites him. They manage to save him. He's the one that needs help. That's what happens. He got bit. Then they all start freaking out. There's a little girl. Also, the little girl goes missing. So they're looking for this little girl who is also has whatever virus or whatever the heck is happening.
Yeah, she's
also
been infected. The mother was carrying her around and she'd already had like a fever and, was showing symptoms of whatever this like.
But at first they all thought the little girl just had like some kind of infection because she's a little girl. The mom kept saying it's just an ear infection, but they couldn't get any meds to her. They couldn't anything. And then turns out this little girl was slowly becoming infected with whatever it is that the older woman upstairs had. Same thing happens to the fireman who got bit. But they're not like zombies because they're not out to eat you.
Well,
they're more I feel like it's just trying to spread.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a virus that's actively trying to spread and grow more so than destroy like the other people.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it wasn't an ear infection. It was tonsillitis.
Ah, okay.
And the dog had gone to the vet because the dog was sick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the health inspector then arrives and tries to help the injured people, etc. But all the injured people are getting progressively aggressive.
Yeah.
Basically, it boils down to apparently the dog was the one that contracted the thing.
Yeah.
And spread it amongst the humans. So it jumped.
Yeah.
And the way that this movie is told is through the point of view of the cameraman. Well, the cameraman is the main storyteller because you're seeing it from his perspective. And
because there's even times where the journalists or other people knock down the camera and the camera physically moves. So all you do is hear what is happening.
Yeah, and I do believe that when you're telling stories like this in a manner like that, it's thrilling. Yeah. Because it's like you're supposed to be a fly on the wall. Like you're not supposed to be there, but you are.
But you're there.
And you're listening and you're feeling
immersed.
like the excitement and the thrill and the
what's gonna happen
anxiety
next.
Of are we gonna get caught, like
because in a standard movie you see everything that's going on at all times. So like if something is coming out of the corner over there, I can see it because you're getting the big picture. But when it's done from like a POV and it's done well, because I've seen plenty of movies where it's done through a POV and it's trash.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen Cloverfield. It's a monster movie.
Oh, no.
And it's told by, like, found footage as well.
The Blair Witch Project is another one that sucks. And it's a POV movie as well.
Yeah, well, Cloverfield's not a it's not horror. It's just a monster movie. So, like, think Godzilla sort of.
Okay.
Kind of. Maybe that's a stretch. I didn't personally like Cloverfield. Made me nauseous. Like, it was very, like, motion sickness sort of situation. Yeah, I watched it like 2-3 years ago, but okay. I thought it was very mediocre. I was excited because of the way that it was told. Like storytelling through that perspective, I think is a beautiful way to tell movies. Like I just really enjoy, like I say I enjoy it because I haven't watched too many of them, but the type of like found footage, like point of view storytelling, I personally think it's genius. And when it's done right, like Wreck, it's great.
I've actually seen a lot of movies done like that, like through found footage. And I'm actually not a fan of that like type of storytelling because the movies I've seen are trash. And I think that's why it's not as big, because it's harder to make look good.
Yeah, I think it really just depends on every movie is dependent upon the script and the director and stuff like that. But Wreck is multiple films.
Have you seen Blair Witch Project?
No, I've not.
All right, don't.
Noted. I wrote that down. Yes.
It's not it's supposed to be like eerie and creepy. Like the premises, there's this forest, there's like a witch that lives in the forest or something like that. And naturally, I think she's a reporter in the first movie, goes in to like try to do a documentary on it, and her and the people that she's with start getting chased down and they start getting killed. And so like it's told from the perspective of whoever is holding the camera at the time.
Yeah.
And in the second one, I literally fell asleep midway through the movie because it just didn't make any sense. It didn't really resonate at all. And it just felt really try hard.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the end was the beginning of the movie. So like when they reach the house, the very first scene that you saw with the creepy person is actually the last scene. So it's like a loop.
Yeah. Well,
but it's
again, when done well, these things could hit super hard. But just to wrap up Wreck as best as we can, the infection that spreads throughout all the people, they eventually start trying to like quarantine in different parts of the building. So they have this like area where they put the injured, and they have this like specialist, or there's a doctor living.
A scientist.
Yeah. Or something. Or a medical trainee?
He's like a vet, I think.
Or something, yeah. Like medically trained in some sort of degree. And he's put into this room where you just saw both of us look over if you're watching the Viewable podcast, because something just made a noise. I think it was just the ice machine in the fridge.
I assumed it was the wind.
So this poor doctor dude situation is trying to fix these people who are bitten
but he's figured it out.
Infected. Yeah, but he's now known that, oh, this is transmissible.
Yeah.
Everyone who gets this bite or is infected will become ravenous
and he's tied them down.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the injured people, he's tied them down, but he obviously doesn't want to kill them. He's trying to find a cure or like how to help them.
Spoiler alert, there's none in this film.
Yeah, also spoiler alert, they're too aggressive to be tied down.
Yeah.
Their like superhuman strength is crazy.
And then there's this like immigrant family who I believe were Chinese.
Yeah, there were some kind of
Asian.
Yeah.
Eastern Asian.
Yeah.
Fact checked that. But it also played on your feelings of, oh, are the children get infected? Like,
and they don't speak Spanish.
Yeah, are these kids, is that it for their future? And it ends.
And it's her, like, the immigrant family is, like, a lot of them who live in one apartment. That was, like, the big thing. It was, like, her 2 children, her grandmother.
Yeah.
And her grandmother's, like, super old, so she couldn't come downstairs. But they also work from the building, like, in one of the rooms. So there's also workers there. Like, it was a lot happening. And they don't speak Spanish. Like, they barely spoke any Spanish to get by. So on top of everyone is running around crazy, they don't understand what's happening.
They're just scared.
No one can explain to them what is happening. All they know is that they're locked in and something bad is happening and people are freaking out.
And it goes through the series of all that chaos and excitement and fear, and the main characters are trying to look for this escape. They eventually they're looking for some sort of key.
Yeah, so
to get to the
building
tunnels
manager,
or something. Yeah,
the building manager tells them there's a escape route that nobody knows about because it's a super old building. We just have to get the key, and the key is upstairs in the room, in the floor that nobody goes to.
Yeah, the abandoned secret floor, basically.
And like the only person who ever goes there is like the owner of the building. But the key is up there. If we can get the key, we can escape.
So cameraman and interview lady goes up, and they're looking around with whatever little light that they have.
But they start getting chased. That's why they don't have a light, because they're with the building manager who has the flashlight. But in order to help save them...
Yeah. Can you tell we haven't watched this movie recently? And like we have Wikipedia that's trying to help us, and we're piecing in the parts that we both remember.
So they start getting chased by the creatures, and so they have to run up the stairs, and they close the door. So they have no light source because there's no electricity in the building anymore. No flashlight. All they have is their camera, and they're scared trying to find this key. And they've now come into this room that's covered in newspaper articles and Bible pages and
crosses and like biblical stuff all over.
Little girl. Yeah.
It's like that scene, and I always forget where it comes from. But the guy who has like all the red like marks.
I actually have no idea where that's from.
And he's just like.
It's not Parks and Recs, is it?
Anyways, the meme will be here, but it's basically that in this room. And long story short, they're rummaging through things, and then they hear things moving.
Mm-hmm.
And then the camera whip pans or like
falls because he trips.
Oh, okay.
And the camera like falls, so you see the image of whatever it is that they see. Cause I think she finds a flashlight or a candle or something.
Or something. There's some sort of light source, and it illuminates this golem-looking thing that was. I jumped.
I did
saw
too.
that. I was like, "Who?"
I did too.
Oof.
I was caught so off guard.
Yeah, I didn't know what we were expecting. Like, I knew it was building up, and I was like, "All right, something's coming. Something's coming." And even though I knew something was coming, I was not prepared for that.
Yeah.
I went into this movie with no expectations, no prefaces. It was just like a couple of my buddies were like, "Yo, you gotta watch this film."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, cool. We're all watching it together, I guess." Like, sure. What a film. It
was really good.
Yeah.
I definitely would recommend watching it.
Very good for the Halloween season.
Yeah.
Much scary vibes.
There's a second one also.
And a third.
And a third. I didn't know there was a third. I saw the second one, but I don't remember anything about it.
Oh, there's 4.
Oh, okay.
There's Wreck, Wreck 2, Wreck Genesis, and Wreck Apocalypse.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one.
I saw the second one, and I'm sure if you read the summary, I would remember it. But I don't actually remember anything about the second one. I don't think it was as good as the first one was.
Story takes place immediately after the events of the first film and follows a team of soldiers assigned to protect the scientist supposedly sent to investigate the cause of the outbreak.
Yeah.
But who may already know more about it than he claims.
Yeah, this is what I remember. I remember briefly this I remember seeing this movie, but I don't remember anything specific about it. That's what I was saying. The second movie explains the first movie, like why that monster is the way it is.
Yeah.
But it never actually explains it, other than it's like very religious. Like it had to do with like exorcism.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they were in that room and I saw the paper clippings, and I was like, oh, so it's biblical.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Spanish, like Catholic influence. Anyways.
It's big.
Great movie. I enjoyed it. Am I going to watch it again? Am I going to watch the rest of the series? Probably not.
I probably will.
But I think as a standalone film,
it's good.
It works really well. Yeah. Even though it is from 2007, which is...
I mean, the budget, you can tell, was not
great. It had a decent...
You can tell the budget wasn't great, but I think it did very well. For the one... Because it had like one... You're not moving from place to place. You're in the building the entire time.
The movie had a $2 million budget.
I don't know what the average budget is for a movie.
Please hold momentarily while we look this up.
Yeah, like what is like a decent movie?
Okay, so major studios are saying, according to Google.com, 65 million.
Yeah, that's why I was like, it's not a big budget movie. Because let's look up a movie that's not, like, look up Warm Heart or Warm Blood? Warm Bodied, that's what it is. 35 million, and the movie is like...
I mean, they also have, like, higher ranked stars.
It's also in America.
Okay, yeah. I think foreign films often get to do more with little budgets because they are resourceful. Yeah. But keeping in the realm of foreign films for the time being, there's a couple that I've watched that are interesting. So... There's one that I think I watched right after Wreck, which was Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. It's a Korean film. It's also kind of in that POV, but it followed this group of students who were kind of ghost hunting, and there was this haunted asylum that they wanted to go check out,
as there always is.
As there is. So they take all their equipment. This group like sets up camp in this forest, get all their technology, and in essence, it was this like group of people who also just like played pranks. They were like scary streamers or like haunted-esque streamers. So think BuzzFeed Unsolved.
Got it.
They go out and like do the investigations and stuff like that.
Understood.
But live streaming it basically. So they go set up camp, and all these kids like they trot into the asylum, and you know they're vibing and creating scary things to get the views up and whatever, and then things go south. Like doors start closing on them, one of them gets like picked off and they just disappear. Paranormal things start happening where one of them gets like pulled into a room, and they're like obviously scared looking around, and then there's this other creature or being in the back and like, you know, does this super speed up like ramp into like the face, and things start levitating, ghosts start like just doing all the ghosty things, and it's one of those you're at the edge of your seat until you realize you're not sitting anymore. Like you're just like,
What's happening?
What? I need to be prepared to fight something right now.
Got it.
And yeah, basically the beings and the entities are like, don't mess with us. It completely shut down their equipment. It like faulted the equipment where they weren't able to communicate with each other inside out. A couple of them were like, I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm just gonna run back to base camp that we set up in the forest. They get stuck in a loop where they can't find their way back. They're like passing the same sock in the forest, and it's it's
eerie. Again,
spoopy.
It's scary for the plot.
Yeah. Spoopy. It was great. Again, that's Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. It's a Korean movie, so you'll have to watch with subtitles.
Yeah, which is hard for me to do. For those of you who are new, I cannot just do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So like I'll be watching a movie and on my phone at the same time. Otherwise I can't concentrate on the movie. Do with that information what you will. Think what you want. But that is the way my brain functions.
Sick. Yeah. Wait, what about your Hellraiser stuff?
Yes, that's actually what I was looking up because I wanted to see like when it came out. So the reason, okay, my mom is not a fan of horror films. She actually really, really hates them. Whereas my dad loves them, but the only horror film he refuses to watch is any Exorcist films because it's something he actually believes can happen. And he's just like, it's just too real, so he'd rather not watch exorcism stuff. But my mother just hates horror films in general. And so she always says how, like, growing up, she didn't mind scary things all that much, but then she saw one movie called Hellraiser when she was little, and that kind of just like stopped her from watching horror films because like back in the day it was a really scary film. So I was looking it up. The movie came out in 1987. Contrary to what I believed, there are 9 movies in this franchise. I thought there were 3. There are 9.
Sick. People enjoyed it.
It's a very, very gory film. If you watch it now, you're just like, this is the fakest thing ever. It literally, you can tell it's fake, but it's 1987. It's very gory. So it basically starts with this man named Frank, and he's kind of like a sexual deviant. He's kinky in the worst way. And he's abroad, and he buys this box. No, not the box you're thinking. Don't be gross. It's literally a cube that has like etchings and markings all around it. And while he's doing his deviant stuff, he accidentally opens this portal that was contained in the box. And so when he opens the portal, these beings called Cenobites. Hold on. Pause for my Googling real quick.
I don't know how long we can pause. This has no battery left.
Okay. Whatever. These creatures come out. Cenobites. And so they're all different looking creatures, but they all look like they're into some crazy BDSM. So the first one, which is like the main one that you see when you type in Hellraiser, he's called Pinhead. So he has all the pins in his face. And then there's another one that looks like she has like a chain around her. It's like, it's all very like bizarre. But they come out and they're kind of like these demons that get off on pain and torture. So they literally pull him apart while he's doing his deviant stuff. And just like ripped skin off, all that. Like it's very gruesome, very gory.
Yeah.
And that's the premise of the movie. But when he dies, his ex-wife or his sister or something like that, they move into the house with their daughter and the couple, and they accidentally bring him back to life. But he's like a blob creature, and I think like in order to come back he needs to, it's like his life for someone else's, so he can fully come back, but he has to give someone else's life to the Cenobites to torture.
The good old one life for another.
Yeah, like an eye for an eye kind of thing. He goes after, I think it's like his ex-wife's daughter or his sister's daughter or something like that, and she discovers the Cenobites, and they get off on torture and pain. Like that's their whole thing. And whatever, she fights them. She somehow ends up winning in the end. And in order to win, though, she needs to find a way to close the portal. And she does that by blowing up the house with the thing inside and all the Cenobites inside. Here's where the plot doesn't actually make sense. For one, like there's no like steady plot. That was the best I could explain. And even that was not enough to explain everything happening. But my favorite thing is I then saw the second one, and there is zero continuity. So, if we recall, in the first movie, she blows up the house with the box inside in order to close the portal and get rid of the Cenobites. And then she goes to the hospital because obviously she was just in a house that exploded. Then that's how the first movie ends. And her boyfriend were both in the house when they exploded. And so she wakes up asking about her boyfriend. And that's how the first movie ends. The second movie starts with she's in the hospital and her boyfriend comes in. He's alive to make sure she's okay. And she's like, we need to go back to the house so I can get my belongings. And they go back to the house and it's perfectly structured. It's there. And she goes to the house to get her stuff. And I think she sees the box in the room or something like that. But according to the second movie, in the first one, the house never exploded. They just glazed over that.
Undo.
They were like, redo.
Undo.
And so it was just, it's bizarre. And then the second movie has even less plot than the first because she enters the world. But suddenly the Xenobites aren't the bad ones. It's another thing that's bad, but they're all trying to get control of this other realm. And then one of them ends up being good. But then there's 7 more apparently. So I don't know what the series is actually about. So
I think they just had money to burn.
Yeah. So but it's supposedly one of the best horror films. Like it's stated as one of the best horror films during its time.
Interesting.
I really want you to watch it because I just need you to be in pain with me. But it's not a movie that I would recommend watching if you really wanted to watch a horror film. Like, it's bizarre.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We have a whole month of scary stuff to, trudge through.
Yeah.
But we had quite a few other things on the list to discuss, but I think we were just so into Wreck in the beginning. You can clearly see that we both had some passion for this movie because it's a good movie. It's a good movie. But we're going to wrap it here. If you do enjoy all the spooky talk and want some more show recommendations, like we watch so much content.
We do.
Kind of ridiculous.
And it's very different content. So
yeah, but as always, hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you're having a safe spooky month, doing all the things, liking, subscribing, telling a friend, etc. And we'll catch you guys next time.